I think lockdown suits me. You get to do all the things that you shouldn't do, or you get to do all the things that you can't normally do in normal society, like wear Star Wars shirts every day. I've got my wife to cut my hair, which isn't too bad, you'll agree. It's a little bit dodgy at the back, but we don't need to worry about that. I get to cook a lot as well. Everywhere you look, people are cooking online. And then I ground to a halt. Today's recipe is just a super simple tomato sauce, and really it's about using what you have. We're all low on supplies, things are running out in the supermarkets, so we've got to make use of what's available to us in the house. It's really simple and it's not going to set the world on fire, but it is a super versatile sauce that is going to allow you to make all sorts of different dishes without needing tons of fresh ingredients. Let's call it lockdown sauce. So the whole idea of this sauce is to make use of what you have. I'll leave a rough recipe in the description down below, but really it's just a guide. Feel free to go completely rogue. I'm going to start off with some onions as the base. Now, whatever you have available is what you should use. Only have a red onion? Use that. Just have one shallot in the back of your fridge? Use that. Even some spring onions will do the job. Now, I'm lucky enough to have these three that need using up, so peel them, slice them finely, and scoop them all into a bowl. If you have any garlic hanging around, crush it, peel it, slice it finely, and add it to the onions. Roughly chop up any tomatoes that you might have. You can use a couple of tin tomatoes if you don't have any fresh. Then scoop everything, juice and all, into a bowl and put to one side. Get a large saucepan onto the heat. It doesn't need to be this big, but there's something about making sauce in a large saucepan that just feels right. Add a large drizzle of oil to the pan and then add the onions and the garlic and cook over a medium heat, stirring all the time until the onions start to soften and go a light golden brown. Now have a hunt around the fridge, and if you can find some tomato puree, add a spoonful of that to the soft onions and then turn down the heat and cook out for about 4 or 5 minutes, stirring all the time just to stop it from burning. If you don't have any tomato puree, then forget this bit, just carry on as normal. Add your chopped tomatoes to the pan and continue to cook over a low heat for a couple of minutes or until the tomatoes just start to break down and release their juices. Then add just enough water to barely cover the tomatoes and bring the whole lot to the boil. If you have any stock available, you can use that instead of water, but to be honest, water will be just fine. So once the sauce is boiling, turn down the heat and simmer for about 20 or 30 minutes until the tomatoes are completely broken down. Then you can turn off the heat. If you have any herbs, then throw them in now. I had some basil in the fridge and some thyme, oregano and rosemary from the garden, but any dried herbs you have in the cupboard would be perfect to add. I like to add them right at the end just to keep their flavours really fresh and fragrant. Add them too early and you're just going to cook the crap out of them and they'll lose all their impact in the sauce. Then place the sauce into a blender and don't forget to add a really generous amount of salt and pepper like I almost did, then blend until smooth. Taste, make sure the seasoning is the way you like it, and then store in some sort of container, and that's it, lockdown sauce made. Now, as I said, this is just a base sauce. This can be adapted to create a whole host of meals, so now it's time to make use of all those condiments and spices that you've got hiding in the back of your cupboards. Want to spice it up? Throw in some Tabasco. Give it a bit of body with that Lea & Perrins that you literally only use for cheese on toast. If you want a nice, sharp, piquant little sauce, then add some acidity. Or sweeten it up with a spoonful of honey. I've even got liquid smoke here, perfect for adding a little smoky body to a sauce, but I assume they were having some sort of sale. I have no idea why I have this much. I must have had a plan for it. There is no chance that I'm going to get through this in even 2 years. Don't forget about those spices as well. Play around with some combinations and see how you can transform this simple sauce. I'm sure you have more hiding in the cupboards. I mean, personally, I'm a totally ingredient hoarder. This is all I could bear to bring out, but I have more packed in my kitchen. And this isn't panic buying, this is just my life. Basically, what I'm saying is during this time, why not experiment a little bit in the kitchen? Use up some of those random ingredients you bought but never got round to using. You don't have to pretend to be some sort of Heston Blumenthal. You can start small. Fry off some bacon, add some frozen peas along with those dried chili flakes, a spoonful of this lockdown sauce, a little bit of spaghetti, and suddenly you've got yourself a little tasty pasta dish ready to eat. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this recipe, let me know by hitting the thumbs up down below. And if you're new here and you like what you see, why not consider subscribing as well. Hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. I love it when you guys get in touch. And of course, stay safe and stay the fuck indoors.